This.
I hit it. I hit the button.
Okay, perfect.
What it do?
Ooh, that was good.
Is that like Paul Worthy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're back. Welcome to another episode. Welcome to another edition.
You're really loud.
Oh, am I? No.
Yeah.
Seems all right here, right? I'm a little under the weather, so my voice is going to seem even more like who's like a popular voice on microphones? Dan Rather?
I don't know him.
I don't know. Would you?
Do you know who Dan Rather is?
That's a weatherman. I don't even know why I said him.
I can't hear Yves at all.
Can't hear Yves?
No.
Maybe if I.
All I can hear is Paul.
Is that better?
Maybe if I bring it a little closer.
Whoa,
There
definitely can hear him now.
All right. How's it going? You ever? I was trying to describe Paul's voice to some of my friends. Not like I'm like over your voice, and I was like, it's the sound. It's like the sound of a dry martini.
Yeah.
But it's not real.
It is.
You don't talk like that, I don't think.
I do.
No, he doesn't always talk like that.
We have a special guest today, but first, make sure you check out our socials on Instagram at 2Pack Taper, as well as Spotify and YouTube. Give us a 5-star rating, or, I'm not going to be friends with you.
Be honest.
Shit. Today we have a special guest, and the funny thing is when we started having guests, or maybe even before we did, I made like a list on my iPhone notes, just like maybe 10 people, maybe 12. We hadn't even really met you, but I had your name on there.
Really?
Yeah, just randomly. You've seen it, I think, the list.
I've seen it. Yeah, I knew it.
I just was like, I feel like he's gonna have a good story to tell. I want to talk to him. So
he also probably wanted you on the podcast because he needs me to be corrected because I put S at the name or end of your name every time I say it.
Well,
have you noticed
that's
that?
probably common.
So it's pretty common.
Okay, I was gonna say I almost always am like Yves.
Yeah, so I'll say Eve like Christmas Eve or Adam and Eve. The S is silent.
I know.
I
kind of like.
How do you say your last name?
So my name is Yves Capitaine Jr.
Capitaine Jr.
Or my full name, Yves Adolpho Capitaine Jr.
Oh, okay. I love that. Oh my God. I was gonna say your last name, Capitaine. I didn't know if that was pronounced.
It's got like copy, like you're copying a piece of paper,
Capitaine.
and then the number 10, Capitaine.
Capitaine. Okay, I like that. Yves Saint Laurent.
Oui.
Yeah.
Oh.
French.
I can't.
Welcome,
that.
Yves.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
I'm honored.
But yeah, I thought it would. That's why I put you in my head. I'm like, okay, he seems like he's interesting because you were brand new to the run clubs in Grand Rapids.
And this is also saying a lot because Paul doesn't think anyone's interesting.
No, I don't.
He doesn't. I'm like, why can't we have this person on the podcast? They don't have anything to say. But you were like the top of his list.
Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
Without even knowing you.
Yep. Maybe you would come to society like once, one of the track days.
It's because he dresses so nice.
Yeah.
I'm just
his style is just.
Oh, you guys are sweet.
You got your mic. Oh, you can push it down even more.
Just a little bit more.
Yeah, I know this table.
Well,
this table is weird for people
not
watching. We need to like figure out a better setup because like for Yves and me, it's too low.
I'm gonna be slouching.
Yeah, you're gonna be slouching for a solid hour. Yeah, Max sitting like a gremlin.
Yeah, you look relaxed.
I'm always in a little gremlin position. It's my natural habitat.
Yves, you are newish to not really, not that new to Grand Rapids, right?
No, I've been here for about 5 years.
5 years. Oh, you've been here longer than me then. Yeah. Shoot.
How did we just discover you?
Well, I was I was going to go to EGR, and I think it was one of the track days that you guys were a part of. And my whole goal was I was going to do just the loop around like the Recycle Trail.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw a whole bunch of people running, and I'm like, they look cool. I'm going to join them. And literally just, and I've known Bryce, or know of Bryce, because he used to work with like Team Gazelle a lot.
Right.
And so I saw him. I was like, all right, there's a familiar face. And I saw another coworker,
like Red and all them.
Yeah, like Mary. Shout out Mary. I saw her, and I'm like, all right. Well, and then I saw like Lance and Steve and all these people. I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I can make a couple friends here around people I know, and then from there on out, I got to meet everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone's been so kind.
Were you intimidated? Like, what was the first group you came to, like in general, running wise? In Grand Rapids. Oh man. The first group was Lion Street Run Club. Okay, yeah.
And I think it was in September. I think we're at it wasn't SIP. It was
in the south.
in East Town.
Oh. Bagels, the bagel
yeah,
place?
Terra.
Okay, yeah.
So I
The
went
bagel
there.
place.
Yeah.
Can't forget the bagels.
Terra's legit.
And then from there, I got to meet a whole bunch of
Yeah.
like cool runners and
Lion Street's a good introduction because like you're just gonna end up talking to somebody right away. Yeah.
yeah.
It's definitely focused around the social aspect because you have a lot of downtime where you're waiting to run.
Right.
And then even while you're running, you're also then waiting again. And then you run again and then you wait again. And so it's like a nice introductory because like what else are you going to do when you're waiting for
Right. You got to talk to people.
Yeah.
And I run a lot, so I walk a lot now. So what I do is I'll do my runs earlier, and then if I do get to go to Lion Street or like Village Rec Club, I'll be walking.
Yeah. That's kind of nice. So it takes the pressure off. Like you can focus on like your own training schedule with you have a coach, correct?
I do. Shout out Todd Buckingham. Yeah, he's
know
awesome.
Todd.
I'm just gonna do a whole bunch of random shout outs. So.
That's fine.
That's okay. Whatever, whatever
awesome.
you want. But then it's nice because you get to have your coach write you a plan. You don't necessarily have to stress out about, okay, I have a workout today, but I also really like the social aspect of going to this group. But you don't want to obviously do a workout at Lion Street. Like I've been there. I've tried to like incorporate my workouts into those like group runs, and it gets really weird.
Yeah, sometimes I'll incorporate it if I don't wake up early enough. But
Yeah.
if it gets to that point, I'll just wait till later on in the day.
Yeah.
I'll just do it then.
Yeah, that's nice.
All right, so let's backtrack it.
What's up?
5 years ago, you moved to GR. Where were you born and raised?
Okay. So August 6, 1993, I was born in Haiti.
Oh, you were born in. Okay, see, I wondered if you were born in the U.S.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. So I was not born in the U.S.
Yep.
I was born in Haiti. It's a small village called Capitaine, Haiti, and a whole bunch of miles away from the capital in Port-au-Prince.
Okay.
And my dad had a vision where he wanted to provide the American dream, basically.
Right.
Come to the States and be able to provide a life or a lifestyle that was a little bit different than what we were known for, what we knew, experience a different reality, for more or less words.
Yeah.
So we moved to the States about 19, 20 months later. So
Okay.
I came to the States
So you were a baby.
when I was a baby.
Yeah.
Spent some time down in the South, and then we ended up moving to Chicago, and we've ended up living there ever since. So around about 20 minutes south of the Hyde Park area.
Okay.
And we've been there, or my parents have been there ever since.
Your mom and dad.
Yep, my mom, dad,
Okay.
and then they had 2 other kids. They had my little sister, her name's Rachel.
Shout out Rachel.
There we go. And then my little brother, who's Donald. He's awesome.
Oh my gosh, my dad's name's Donald. Does he go by Donald?
Yeah, he goes by
that.
Donald.
I
We used to
love
have these weird
that.
nicknames growing up. We used to call him Donald Duck or Don Don.
Oh, Don Don.
Yeah,
That's
he
so
hates
cute.
it. He hates it.
I can imagine like hating that.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. It must be so different considering like I think Chicago's a big city,
Huge.
It is. It
right?
is.
Like you
It's-
spent a majority, I'm going to say like pretty much all of your life in a big city.
Yeah, it's
And
pretty
now-
culture shocking.
Yeah.
Going from there and understanding. And my parents did really well. We always like to call our home like the Haitian embassy. Or if you go outside the home, it's, you interact as such. But when you're inside the home, you follow these strict guidelines. So my parents were super strict, super religious, and just
Okay.
follow these strict guidelines, and you respect. Everything was like faith-based, so everything was filtered through a Christian worldview or a Christian lens, and just be basically a decent person, but be respectful, be set
Yeah.
apart, be different than what else is out there.
Is there a Haitian community in Chicago?
Yeah, there's
There
a big
is.
Haitian community in Chicago.
Let me move this because I think it's rubbing. You're good.
Ooh.
There we go.
Sound better?
Yeah, no, you're good.
All right. Yeah, there's a pretty good Haitian community on the south side of Chicago. There's obviously a Haitian community in Miami, New
Right.
York, Connecticut, but in Chicago there's a decent number.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you grew up, what I'm catching, pretty strict, right?
Yeah.
Do you still abide by all of that? Like, are you still heavily involved in faith and
Yeah, faith
the
plays
guidelines and all those kind of things
Yeah.
now that you're outside of that little circle?
Yeah, faith plays a role in my life, and so whereas keeping up with certain rules and regulations, I've been able to adopt my own reasoning for what I believe and my faith as well. My faith plays a huge portion of my life. It runs through a lot of decision making that I do, but. Thank God, being here in Grand Rapids has changed a lot of things that I view. It's given me a lot of respect and understanding. Just being around people who do not have the same viewpoints as I do, and who are willing to challenge me, who are willing to understand where I'm coming from, and either challenge my faith or ask questions that, or for me, being able to ask them questions that I've always had. I never had the chance to have the the vulnerability or the space to ask.
Did you go to religious schools growing up, like in Chicago?
No, I went to
public.
I went to public schools in Chicago. I went to like a public school in high school in downtown Chicago, but I went to a Christian college in about 40 minutes north of Chicago. It's a place called Trinity International University.
Okay.
Funded by the Evangelical Free Church of America.
Really?
Free.
Wow.
So I went there and spent a whole bunch of time out there and worked in Chicago and then moved out here. Yeah.
It's an interesting perspective coming from a big city to here and saying that like we've challenged your views. That's a very unique perspective, I think, that not a lot of people have when they come from like a bigger city to somewhere small and predominantly white, religious, same political views like here.
Yeah. One thing about as big as Chicago is, it has its bubble-like feel, just like going to like a Christian college. It's a bubble, and then once you get outside the bubble, you're slapped with reality and life and people that I typically wouldn't surround myself with.
Yeah.
But putting myself out of that comfort zone, which I think I do pretty well, or engaging in conversations or going to a random track event with a whole bunch of strangers I don't know.
That's ballsy.
So.
Yeah.
So when your family left Haiti, I assume cousins, aunts, uncles still there?
Yes.
Yeah.
So everyone is still there. We lost during the earthquake in 2010.
Right. I was going to ask you about the earthquake.
So that was pretty traumatic, and I believe not too long afterwards, my grandparents passed away. And that was pretty rough.
When you say like it hit your city pretty hard.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
So with the island being so small, you have the earthquake, and then you have aftershocks that ripple throughout the country. So even if it didn't hit you, you still felt the effects of it. And the infrastructure in Haiti isn't as great.
Right.
So like small aftershocks would still destroy like villages.
Yeah. So you lost a lot of people in the earthquake, a lot of loved ones, and then.
Did you? You said you did? Oh, I just meant like in the actual event itself, the earthquake.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, not you. No, you said he lost a bunch of family.
I'm
I didn't know.
He did.
No, I didn't lose.
Oh.
We didn't lose.
I was like, wait,
Why were we so confused?
We're not
for
killing
5
people
seconds?
that didn't die.
No, we were at
No,
the
you're
story,
good.
but no, I personally
apologize
didn't
to
lose
everyone
a
I
lot.
fake killed.
Yeah, personally, I didn't lose a lot of people.
Okay.
but
Right.
Like people who did lose a lot of people.
Yeah,
down there.
yeah.
Was it hard being so far away from that situation? And then obviously, like you mentioned, your grandparents, both of them passed away after
I know.
that?
I believe my grandma on my mom's side passed away.
Okay.
But the thing about it is like being so disconnected from them because you're here for so long.
Right.
There's a certain level of like naiveness to it. Like,
Yeah.
Like death really wasn't a big player in my life until a lot later in my teenage years.
Okay.
So it didn't hit until like my mom had to go back and had to deal with that.
Right.
And then come back here and tell us everything that went on and just seeing pictures and.
So you didn't like frequently or even regularly visit Haiti or anything like that?
No, and I would not like to say I blame my parents, but there's a lot of there's a huge mentality that Haiti is still super dangerous, and it is. Right now, they're still going. There's gangs and violence, and it's labeled as like the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, right?
Oh wow.
And so,
Okay.
but there's a lot of beauty to the country as well. So whatever the media portrays, it's only like 2% of the story.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to it. There's waterfalls, there's canyons, there's beaches, there's so much. There's like Haitian pride is real.
Yeah.
There's.
I mean, I saw you light up when someone from Haiti or another Haitian came to Run Club. You were just like glowing.
Because you don't see that very often.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And just being able to speak Creole and just have that conversation and just like hear her story, I'm just like, man, there are more people.
Yeah, what was her name?
Um,
Was it Anika? Anika?
no, I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry if you're watching this.
No
I'm really
shit,
sorry.
that's all right. I remember you guys talking. You like started running around the block like,
I
what?
was so happy. That's
so cool.
Yeah, the crazy thing is like there's certain words that you'll say that to like untrained, like to Haitian ears,
Like what word? Like, give me a word.
So she said, gratin.
Oh, I've never heard that.
So if you ever cook
Okay,
rice,
Paul says I've never heard that as if he knows any Creole.
I know a little bit of French though.
Okay.
so whenever the Haitians, they love to cook with rice, right? And so you cook a rice in a pot. But once you're done with the rice, at the bottom of the rice, there's like it's like super crispy.
Oh,
because it's
yeah.
super hot, right? And all the flavor.
Oh,
if you
that
put
sounds so good.
Stops at the bottom of it, and when you're trying to scrape it up with a spoon or a ladle, it's super crunchy. When you eat it, it's super crunchy rice. We call that gratin. And she said it, and I was like,
Whoa.
"What's your name?" And then I'm like, "Where?"
What was
are
the
you
context she
from?
was saying? Was like there a question like related to
No,
food, or
it
she was
a
just
statement. Like she was saying, it was a statement, or she said something like it was a sentence, and then it just slipped in there. It was like,
you're like no one would just randomly think about that. Yeah.
Like, where or like what's your ethnic background? Like where are you from? And
Right.
she was like, I'm half Haitian. I was like, you've got to be joking. And I just went nuts. It was great.
Does your family speak Creole like in the
We do.
home
We do.
only? So like when you go
that's the
there
main
only?
language.
Okay.
So whenever I do go home, they do speak English if I have friends over, but they do speak Creole all the time. So when I do
so
go
cool.
home, like I'll speak Creole, but I'll speak more English. And
Yeah.
they'll understand it, and then when they speak Creole, I understand it.
What
That's
is
really
what is
cool.
Creole in terms of like what languages it mixes?
So it's like it's a broken language between like Spanish and French. It's
Oh,
as close
okay.
as I can put it. So if I were to say like close the door in English, right? In Spanish you'd say cierren la puerta, por favor, and in French you say
It's not very.
what do I say?
This makes you feel better
Fermez
because I
la
thought you
porte,
were.
s'il vous plaît, right?
Never mind.
Yeah.
So you
I was
say-
gonna say it made me feel better. You didn't know every language, but then you just knew it. So.
These three.
And so you say like fermez la porte, s'il vous plaît, and in Creole it's like fermez la porte là, s'il vous plaît, right? So it's
Okay.
pulling. It feels the way I described it pulls
From each
like
language.
a broken language between both.
That's really cool.
I
I like
like
that.
that.
Yeah, I could learn that.
Yeah,
Probably
it's-
not, but-
yeah. I mean,
I could try.
I don't know. There's no way. But you,
That's me.
it's crazy because you like don't even have an accent, and you wouldn't even be able to tell that you're fluent in multiple languages.
Right.
It's
Well,
impressive.
that's what you get for being here
Right.
for so long.
Yeah.
But then you have like people who come here when they're like 9 or 10, and they still have an accent, or the way they pronounce like words, or like can't elongate in like certain vowels or roll R's or stuff like that. It's just I've been here for pretty.
That's
for
so
long.
cool. So what got you into running then?
Well, when I was a young warthog, I ran a lot in grade school. I did a lot of track, and in high school, I did a little bit of track. Anything under 400 meters was or anything under 200 meters was like my bag. I
Ooh,
loved
you
it.
were like sprinting.
60.
Yeah, I loved
Wow.
sprinting.
Wow.
60, 40, 50,
Yeah.
100, 200, loved it.
Okay.
But then when I got to college, we did not have a track team, but we had a cross country team, and I was like, I could do that. It was like a 5K, or
In college?
it was an 8K.
Okay.
I think it was one of those.
Yeah, the boys run the
invitational-
8K.
Yeah, it was,
I didn't do it, but I know.
It was an invitational, and I was like 8K. I was like 8,000 meters. I can sleepwalk that, and so I signed up. And first race, like the first mile, I was ahead, and I was talking trash, and like I'm running over here, and like coaches, and they're on the sidelines. I have coaches. I'm talking trash to everyone, right? And I was
Because it's what is that like 4 miles? Ish?
8K.
8K? Well, I'm thinking 5 is 3.
No.
No, 10K
Plus,
is 6.
Oh yeah. You're not
So I'm
tripping.
thinking
It's like
4 and a half.
4.5, 5.
Okay.
So I'm like, man, mile and a half or 2 miles in, I'm still gunning, I'm killing everyone.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm having a blast. And then like the 3 mile marker hits, and I'm gassed.
No more fun.
This is not fun anymore.
Everyone
And so-
who you talk trash to is like,
Right,
ha.
they're behind me, and then it's a loop too. So like, I got to see everyone I'm talking trash to, and this was the most humbling
No.
experience. So I didn't know anything about pacing. I didn't know anything about
Yeah.
endurance, and so at the end, I came dead last.
Oh my gosh. I gotta love that though.
I came in dead last.
That is so funny.
But then, like, I did that on and off, and then managed a cross country team for a year or two, and then
What level? Like a high school?
just
Like
a
you were a
co-
coach?
this was
Or?
college.
Oh, you
Or-
managed a college cross country?
No,
team?
just the manager. So I did like a whole bunch
Oh,
of laundry,
okay.
like help coaches
Yeah,
out.
Yeah.
Did whatever.
So you're like an assistant coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that took a back burner once because I also went to college on a music scholarship. So from there on, I took a step back from running. And then in my first job, when I graduated in Chicago, I had a coworker who was a huge runner, and I was super into her. So I really wanted
What a
to.
girl.
Super into her.
I was, and she ran. And so if she ran, I would run with her, and so we'd run along the lakeshore in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Lakefront trails. Those were great.
They're like little running dates.
Yeah.
Did she
but-
know it was a date?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. I
That-
mean,
that-
she
it
knew
doesn't
it was a
matter.
date,
You
but she
knew
didn't
it-
feel the same way
Oh,
at all.
She knew it was a date, but she didn't feel
We've
the
all
same
been
way.
there.
I was a simp. It was bad.
Oh.
It was like, Tiffany. I'm sorry.
Shout out to
Shout out Tiffany. Sorry. And so afterwards, so I we ran did a whole bunch of Shamrock Shuffles. I did this like rock and roll Chicago half, and I was really
yeah.
in love with it. And then 2018 rolls around, and I was like, hey, I want to run a marathon. And she was going to run the Chicago Marathon, and at that point, I was like, well, I can't run the Chicago Marathon because I didn't have enough.
So you're
money
telling
to
me you
sign
simped for
up.
this girl for like 2 years?
It was like a year and a half.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
No, we haven't all been there.
You haven't been there?
I haven't been there.
Man.
But
It's a
I don't know.
lifestyle. You
It's
wouldn't
a
understand.
lifestyle.
I mean, yeah.
Dang,
Anyway,
dang.
but afterwards, from there, so she signed up for the Chicago Marathon in 2018. I was like, I'm going to sign up for a marathon too. So I went and helped her out, supported her, helped her, ghost ran with her for.
You ghost ran with her? Paul, it's like you
What the
and
hell's
me.
that? What's ghost running?
It's when you ghost ran with me.
Yeah, literally,
Oh.
you wait and then you just jump in and you run.
Yeah.
So Ghost ran with her for a whole bunch of miles, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to run a marathon. So the next week, there was a Grand Rapids Marathon. And I was
And
like,
you weren't even living here?
No, I wasn't living here at the
And
time.
you were like, Grand Rapids Marathon?
Yeah,
That's
because
crazy.
my college
Okay.
roommate is from Grand Rapids. So I'd always come back here during art prize.
Yeah.
He's
Or,
from Grand Rapids, Rapids?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
From the inner city. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I signed up, and I had, the thing is, I trained for it. It's I was running with her, did the Riverbank run that year, did a couple half marathons. So I was like, I'm ready for it.
Oh,
And
so
my
you were
buddy-
already in Grand Rapids at one point for the Riverbank run.
Yeah.
So you kind of ran part of the course,
Yeah,
too. So
basically.
you're like, yeah, I got this.
Right, and so I didn't,
Yeah.
but I didn't read the elevation or anything like that. So I was just like, all right, I got this. And my buddy, his name's Josh Manuel. Shout out Josh Manuel. He's like that type of person. Like, he's athletically gifted in anything he does.
Yeah.
Right. And so I trained for a whole year. He trained for
Damn.
a day. It seemed like a day, maybe a month.
Yeah.
3 weeks. Yeah.
And he helped pace me, and then at the end I was gassed near the end because I hit the wall around the Indian mounds. You go out and
That's the worst
it's
part, too.
terrible.
Except for the pickle juice they give out there.
That was nice.
That was clutch.
But it was bad. Came back, and he around the last mile, he just gunned it and just took off, and I was just like, man, I hate you, man, bro. But finished it, completed it, and I was like, you know what? From there, I was like, I want to get better at it. And I took 2 years off of running, and then started back up 2 years ago.
Why the hiatus for 2 years?
Just wanted to try something different.
Yeah,
Just
like
something
a
new.
different sport or different hobby.
Just to get running is a brutal and taxing
Yeah.
sport.
You just needed a little
I
pause.
just need some time away.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Gives me more of an appreciation for my body, what it can do, and
Right.
it's so much more capable of what you think it can do.
Yeah.
And just a deeper appreciation for it. So 2 years ago, ran the Chicago Marathon, ran it last year, running it this year.
So what sparked you hiring a coach? Like, what inside of you was like, you know what, I don't want to just train on my own and, follow a training plan or run socially. Like, what made you be like, I think I'm going to branch out and find someone who can coach me? Because I feel like that's a really big step when you're a runner, right? Like, it takes a lot of time to pick someone out, one, and then also decide that you're going to take it that seriously, that you want to pay someone to help you, right?
Absolutely. And that Mary Wilbert from Gazelle really helped me out. And so she was training with Todd Buckingham.
Okay.
And she would talk about him during our shifts. And I'd look at his posts, and so my one rule is if you want to get better, you find someone who's already doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Find someone that's already immersed, because you have a whole bunch of TikTok influencers that think they know.
Yeah,
they know,
100%.
and so
People
I'm
ask me if I can coach, and I'm like, bro.
right. It was it's
Yeah.
such a
Yeah.
It's that day and age now where like if you think that you can show a flashy lifestyle or like you can, you know, read some things on the internet and regurgitate it that you can coach. Yeah, totally understandable. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna let me go ahead and let me vet him real quick. So I spent a whole afternoon just like looking him up on like YouTube and figuring that he's got a PhD, and so I'm like, okay, this guy's knowledgeable. And then I figure out that he does a whole bunch of triathlons. He was a triathlete of the year. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, this guy actually knows what he's doing.
He's got the credentials and he's
And so I was like, this is something that I need. So I just sent him a message, and from there on out, we met a couple. We like had an interview. He met me, and then he agreed to train me, and like we butt heads. So like when we first started, he wanted to get me on like the methadone training, low heart rate training.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't see the value in it, but from last year's Chicago Marathon to this year's Chicago Marathon, I had a 90-minute PR.
It's amazing.
I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And so the overall goal is it's a 3-year. Like, I'm going to be with him for at least 3 years minimum, because my goal is to qualify for Boston.
That's amazing.
So
and what is, for people who are listening who don't know, what is that for your age group at that point? Because you're thinking end of 3 years, right? Not like you're like, this is the end goal. At the end of 3 years is going to be my time where I try to qualify for
exactly.
So what will be that qualifying window at that point in your life?
Well, in that point, it'll be in 2 years. So I'll be 32.
Okay. Yeah. So you'll still be in the
sub three
category.
Right
okay.
Now. And so it is, fast is relative. I'm not at that point, but I know when him and I talked for the first time, I was like, I know that this is a long term goal.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I understand the steps to get to it, and I'm all for it. So 3 years, if I run it and don't qualify, take another year, doesn't matter. I'll still do it.
Yeah. I think the hardest part is setting those lofty goals and being like, I'm willing to put in the work to get there, even if I know it's going to take a lot of my time, a lot of my effort, and it might not happen, my first attempt, my second attempt, my third attempt. Like, that's the hardest part, is like getting yourself in that space mentally where you can commit to that, but it's like going to be worth it in the end. I mean, even if, I didn't realize I look like an egg.
Yeah, you look crazy.
I look like an egg.
You look real crazy on the camera.
You look great.
You didn't tell me I look like an egg. Look at me at my reflection. I'm an egg.
Yeah, bro, the YouTube's going to be a hit.
You look great.
I'm just a walking egg.
All right, let Matt catch up to herself.
I'm
Wait,
sorry.
you had mentioned you went to let's back up. You had went to college on scholarship for music. Like, what did that entail? Like, what instrument?
So I play the saxophone.
Oh, I was gonna guess that. I was like, ooh, I was gonna guess that because you look like a blues man.
I do.
I feel like your voice just like
oh, man.
it could do the blues.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I do sing a little bit.
Oh, nice.
But I play saxophone, alto sax, and tenor sax. But I got my scholarship on alto sax.
That's
and
incredible.
I play bass guitar when I'm back home in Chicago. I play bass guitar for my church.
Oh, really?
That's so cool.
Have you ever? What was that movie we watched this last weekend?
Whiplash.
You just
I've never seen that.
What'd you think?
Oh my god, it was intense.
It's intense, isn't
I think some of the girls didn't enjoy it as much.
No, this is actually how it happened. So we're gonna watch it. We had a girls' night, and sometimes I say I'm having friends over, and Paul's like, "Oh, what are we all gonna do?"
Yeah.
Even though it's not a Paul night.
Yeah.
And so I was like, "Oh, Tess, Danielle, and I were like, we planned on watching."
Disney.
I think Jane was there too. Yeah, we were gonna watch a Disney movie. So we're looking at Disney movies. We're thinking Princess Diaries. We're thinking Freaky
Completely
Friday.
different than
Paul
what
comes
we
in and
saw.
goes, "This is trash," and he goes, "I'm picking the movie." And then we're like waiting for Danielle to come.
Great choice.
He picks Whiplash, and Danielle comes in and goes, "What's this movie about?" And Paul goes, "Oh, it's just some guy yelling at some other guy on drums." And at the end of the movie, Danielle goes, "That was accurate. Like, that's what it was."
J.K. Simmons, man.
Oh man, it was good.
Yeah.
It was intense.
It was good. That's how I think that Todd coaches. I envision him being that guy.
No, Todd's not that guy, but he is straight. Like he knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
You guys butted heads in the sense of you wanted to incorporate a little more speed days.
Something a little bit more like
flashy.
It didn't like something.
It wasn't
a
sexy.
lot more flashy.
Yeah.
It wasn't sexy. Running slow is not the flashiest or the sexiest thing.
Yeah.
That's why I do it at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
It is not the.
Yeah.
It is not the like you see all these. I always have this like comparison. I like to compare myself to others when I'm running, and
Sure.
like running at 13-minute mile, like 13-minute miles is not sexy at all, but my heart rate's at 128. So
Right.
I'm like this. I see the benefit of it, and now I'm able to run a whole lot faster and harder. I'm putting out so much just because of the base that I've built.
Yeah.
When I'm with just on those slow, mundane, dark runs in the morning.
Yeah.
Dark runs.
Yeah, especially I do think there's a huge benefit to the zone 2 stuff especially when you're like early in your career.
Like any of us are getting paid for this.
Well, it's a career.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It just helps build, I think, a really, really good base.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to get injured with ridiculous injuries from doing too many speed days early on. But yeah, there's a benefit to them. Do you still play music then here and there? Oh, you do?
I do. I have my
Yeah, he
saxophone
said he
with
plays
me.
in the band. You have it
back
with you,
home.
like.
Not in my car.
I was like, you gonna
It's
come
in my
and-
room.
We should have had you do a solo
Dang
on the
it,
podcast.
that would've been
Damn
so
it.
cool.
We'll have to have you back.
Sure.
I would do the beatboxing to it.
You win it though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I could do beatboxing.
Could you? That stuff always impressed me.
Reading sheet music is like learning a language of itself.
I can't even.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
and I love being able to talk with other like creatives and musicians because the way that they think or the way that they process things or how they approach, deal with, and exit certain situations is a little bit different than non-musical, folk.
Were
music.
you, so my parents I've been in music since really, really young, but my parents chose that for me. I think I still would have back then, maybe not though as a kid because I didn't want to spend time that I could have been outside playing, doing like piano or like I took voice lessons and things like that. Were you like, was that chosen for you or did you decide to choose that later in life?
So I chose it much later in life. I started playing in high school.
Wow,
Usually start when you're a lot
really
younger.
young.
But in Chicago, there's this Frank Menzies. If you're watching this, I love you.
Shout out
Thank
Frank.
you. Shout out Frank. He saw something in me as a sophomore in high school, and I had the ability to it was a gift. I'd say it's a God-given gift where I'm able to pick up instruments and within a couple weeks learn them really quickly. And so my first year in high school, we traveled everywhere. And that's what like sparked my travel bug because for that year, they were playing for the Chinese Olympics. So they had to fly out to China and play. Before the Olympics, I guess they were recording, and so they played the music while the Olympics was going on. So they didn't actually go during the actual Olympics. But the next year, there was a cruise that they were going to take to the Bahamas. And Frankie he told me, he was like, if you really want this, if you practice, and if there's an opening,
You're going to the Bahamas.
you can go to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Which is a funny story.
Tell it.
Yeah.
So basically, we're practicing. So I'd stay late, and he would help. Like he would just mentor me and teach me because he could play.
Oh, this is
instrument.
Whiplash. Here we go.
Basically, and he would just teach me, and he would like
Nice
help
right
me
now.
out. So it got to the point where it's a couple weeks or a couple months beforehand. He said, "Yves, you're going to the Bahamas. Like where you're gonna coming from beginning band." He was like, "Here's the advanced band music. Learn it." And basically, he helped me throughout. And I think the first or second chair got sick, and he said, "You're definitely going." But that time I didn't have my passport.
No.
At all. I didn't have a passport, so my parents and we went to go get a passport, and it took forever to get it.
Right.
And it's the day,
And probably even longer because you're not born in the U.S., right? Like
Exactly.
there's a little bit more. My friend got a passport, and she was born in Lebanon, and it was a lot harder to get a passport.
Getting naturalization papers coming from a different country was rough.
Yep.
So we're in Chicago, and we're getting on these buses to go down to Miami, and I still don't have my passport. And I have my state ID, I have a school ID, I've got every other form of identification.
Yeah.
But birth certificate.
Wait, you were like, I'm going to try to do it without a
I
passport?
was going to try to go without
my
a passport to the
God.
Bahamas. So we got on this bus, we're driving all the way down, right? And
Down where?
to
like
Port
Miami or
Colorado.
wherever.
Oh, you did
yep,
one of those
okay.
mega buses down to Florida?
Mega
Oh,
bus.
wow.
Yeah. So
Okay, so you're like free balling at this point. You're like,
Yeah.
I got nothing but all the papers that I have here. No actual legal way to get
it's
to
to
a different
prove that
country.
I'm a citizen,
Yeah.
per se. So we get to the
But it's a
Port of Col-
cruise.
It's a cruise.
Don't you only have to have a passport if you get off?
No, because we're going to a different country.
International
At the time,
waters.
It's international waters. You need a passport with you, and I didn't have it. But while we're driving down to Miami, passport comes in.
No.
To your house
to
back
our
in
home
Chicago.
Your parents'
So,
house?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
my
whose
mom
house
like calls
would it
me
be?
and they give me like the like a serial number or whatever number it's on there, and she gives it to me, and so we get to the port of call and everyone's getting on. We have like 20 minutes before the ship leaves, and everyone's getting rushed on. And I'm the last one, and so and now I have to explain to this lady in customs, I think, where she was like, okay, well, where's your passport? And I was like, I don't have it with me, but I'm a U.S. citizen. Here's my state ID. Here's my school ID. Here's all this other documentation.
Yeah.
And she says, well, we need, and I was like, well, here's my passport, like serial number. You can please look it up. There's like, that's not good enough. We
Really?
need something. So
I was gonna say I don't think they can just look it up.
so she's like, where are you from? And I was like, I'm from here. She was like, where are you born? And I was like, I was born in Haiti. And she gave me the dirtiest look.
What?
And she said, do you know how many Haitians try to get to America illegally through Miami? And I was like, I guess a certain number.
Right.
But
You're like a
here's my-
16-year-old,
I
right?
was
Like not
well,
even.
Here's my ID. I'm a student here.
Right.
I live here.
Yeah.
And so we had to call my mom. She had to like fax over a birth certificate
Oh
or
my
my
God.
naturalization papers over to the port of call. And we had, like,
Wait, so
2
they were
minutes.
not only so even if your mom just had like faxed over a screenshot of your passport, they were like, nah, it's still not good enough because she like just judged you.
I don't know. I don't know what this lady's problem was.
So
but
your mom faxed stuff over.
yeah, fax stuff over. It was good enough. Was able to get on
Really?
the ship
Oh.
and enjoy the Bahamas as
Went to the
high
Bahamas.
schooler. It was great.
Damn.
Yeah, but
That's
from there on
crazy.
out, I've always been playing music.
Did you go to the resort in the Bahamas?
Yeah, got
What,
to see
is
Michael
it-
Jackson's old mansion.
Yeah.
And Angel
Michael Jackson's got a mansion there?
Yeah.
Like there's a hotel, like a pink hotel, and there's like these two.
It's like a resort
It's
type
like a
of
resort.
yeah.
And it's connected by this huge stairway, and that was like Michael Jackson's.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Place where
It's
he-
like
Yeah,
it feels like sometimes
sometimes.
that's like the only thing there.
Yeah,
Really?
basically.
It,
that's all
it's like feels like you get off the port there, and then it's
Yeah.
like you can either go there, or you can go to like the flea market area,
Yep.
and then yeah, that's
you
it.
get like verbally assulted by these like
I know.
people like try to.
They're like,
I'm
"Buy
trying to
this,
some
buy this."
beads. And like, I don't know.
Yeah, but I feel bad and I buy everything. I can't say
Here's
no.
some beans.
Okay.
I come home from trips, like international trips, like to the places that do have like the little flea markets
Yeah.
with a lot of
She
stuff.
bought a flying monkey in like Kentucky
did
or
buy
something.
Are you
It
serious?
wasn't a
What
fly-
is
it
it
was
called?
a sugar glider.
Sugar glider.
And it wasn't Kentucky, it was in
dope.
Tennessee.
No, they're slimy and gross.
But yeah, I have an issue saying no to things. So when
Okay.
someone's like, hey, $500, we'll give you the sugar glider, I was like, I'm in.
Man, that's all it took, huh?
It's all it took.
Little flying
like,
rat.
I don't even think Paul's seen, I don't even know if I have them anymore. I used to have like a collection of Hawaiian shirts
Oh, no.
No way.
I haven't.
because I couldn't say no to all of the Hawaiian shirts.
That's crazy. I was in Hawaii last year for the Hawaii half marathon,
Oh,
and I went
that'd be
to
cool.
this random ABC store, and this lady would not let me leave until I bought a Hawaiian shirt.
Right?
It was like $30.
Yes, they're so
And
expensive.
this is the crazy thing was like I had my phone, so I scanned it on the Amazon. This shirt was like
$5.
$10.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, what is
It's
this?
so thin and it never fits right. And
Yeah.
it's all like men's sizes that are like not, like they're obscure sizes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I come home with them.
I see you pull up
Oh,
questions.
yeah,
But
I-
wait. I have one
I
more.
was
I
prepared.
have one more
prepared. I wanna-
question.
You guys are interesting.
No, you're
I
good.
wanna finish.
You're good. No, I like that. I like that.
Is it
We
the
don't
sugar
usually.
glider?
No. Well, you and I had talked about this because you randomly walked into a bar that we were at like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
The Meanwhile.
And you do some serial killer shit.
What do you mean?
Who,
Just-
me?
I like that was on my, so this is the weirdest thing. My bucket list had go to a movie alone.
Oh,
Because I feel like as a human, I just don't do a lot of things
Right.
all
People don't.
ultimately alone. So when you walked in the bar, I was
That's
like,
crazy.
oh,
I do it
who's
all.
Eve's, like
Yeah.
Eve's, who's Eve meeting?
yeah.
And you're like, oh, I'm just here for my one drink, and then
Drank that rum
I'm
and
going
coke.
home.
No, it was just I do a lot alone. So
Okay, sorry,
travel.
Paul.
Well, no, I was going to ask because we had talked about like during COVID, and you've been here for 5 years. Has it been? You told me it's been pretty tough. Like, not making friends or maintaining friends. Like,
Yeah.
how's it been for you, or even dating?
man.
Rough on
That was
all
like
ends?
17 questions, but
All
I'm
right, you
so
can-
interested.
Okay, yeah, I can answer all 17 of them. But making friends in Grand Rapids was hard.
Yeah.
Because a lot of friendships that were tied to work and bouncing from job to job while I was here, it was rough. And it's crazy because I've been here for 5 years, but I've made more friends in the last 6 to 8 months than I've had in these 5 years.
Right.
And so it's mind baffling sometimes. But now it's a lot easier to maintain friendships when there's a lot of commonalities and people who are passionate,
Yeah.
people who are actually authentic. I'm not saying that there are a lot of fake people here in Grand Rapids. That's my hot take. There are a lot of fake people in Grand Rapids.
I actually agree. I don't even think that's a hot take. I think that's a not hot take. That is a real take.
It's a not take.
That is an actual fact.
Yeah, but finding people who are genuine and actually really nice, and just I've made so many good friendships here. There are decent people here, and a lot of people who are passionate about movement. And you don't have to run, but there are a lot of people who are passionate about hiking, climbing, fishing, like fly fishing, walking. It's such. I'm grateful for the friendships that I've made here, and I'm so thankful, and I'm humbled sometimes at the people I can call and reach out to, as opposed to just going to a bar by myself or watching a movie alone. I can reach out to certain people, and I have like vital people in my inner circle right now that I've met here that are like pivotal and just making me who I am.
Who would you say, sorry, I'm sidetracking Paul's question. And you don't have to answer this, but who do you think that like in that pivotal circle has made the biggest impact once you started making friendships here?
Oh man.
You're going to make him name drop.
I mean, he doesn't have to name drop. He can subject drop.
Yeah, we can edit the name out, right?
What,
or like bleep the name
or
out.
you can just say where you met them.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going to say how you met them. Just like, who do you think has made like the biggest impact?
You just say, so it was a guy I met at this club. Whatever.
So, actually, it's a girl.
Girl.
It's a girl that I met at the Grand Rapids Art. I think it was the Grand Rapids Art Museum.
Oh, good. The Graham. Okay.
Yeah, I believe. And she's like, we're still friends to this day.
Nice.
Like, just you know who you are.
You know who you are.
She's like my life. Would
Look
not
at
be
me.
My life would.
Eve looked at you.
My life would not be the same without you. So thank you.
Aw, that's
great.
cute.
It's good that have like, I just asked that because I feel like reflecting on that is good, because Danielle said something to me and she said it a few times. I dropped Danielle a lot because she's very knowledgeable. Yeah. She said, sometimes I get afraid because I feel like the friendships that I've made have
an expiration
gone.
date?
Yeah, because they've gone from 0 to 100 so fast, and we've gotten, just close so quickly. So I feel like asking yourself that is like almost like a reminder, like the people who are impacting your life can stick around.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be temporary just because it feels like it happened within 6 to 8 months or whatever it is, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So how's, if you want to talk about it, how's, since you've been here, maybe compared to Chicago or not, but how's dating been for you since you've been in GR?
We can have that conversation off air.
Okay.
Let's. I'd love to.
Can you rate it though, 0 to 10 on air?
So yeah, I'm dating in Grand Rapids.
Yeah, what would you give it? 0 to 10.
Okay.
10 being the best, obviously.
Okay.
0 being.
There's no such thing as 10. But
yeah,
dating in Grand Rapids, I would say is a solid 7.
Oh wow, that's actually better than I thought.
You know why? Because this is my other hot take.
Okay, wow.
There are not a lot of good men here.
That is true. So when girls find good men, they want them.
Yes.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
I know I'm a great guy.
That's good. You should know
man.
that. The wink. The wink.
I'm a very attractive guy, and I got a lot of qualities, and so
you know what you bring to the table, which is
exactly
a good sense of confidence to have. Yeah. That women find that very attractive as well.
Absolutely.
What would you have given Chicago 0 to 10?
Oh man, it's a different intentionality.
Well, what age did you leave there?
25.
Okay.
So at that point in my life, I'd say like a 5.
Okay.
Did you have
a 5? Because relationships look a lot different out there.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So driven, and there's other they have other.
It's not as intentional in the sense of you're not looking for your forever person.
Exactly.
You're looking for a quick fix because you have other priorities.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. I've heard that.
Did you have a party boy phase in those early years?
Yes.
20 to 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say after college. Yes. I got stories. Yeah.
Party boy stories.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I've been there.
But yeah, I've grown and matured.
I like it. Okay, so you wanted to ask us questions. I don't think we've really had a guest do this, have we?
Alyssa asked us some, but it was more just
Alyssa likes to deflect.
Yeah,
though,
that
so
was a
I had to call
deflecting
her out.
questions. Yeah.
Ooh.
Alyssa was like, well, instead of answering, let me just ask you a question.
Okay.
Ouch.
Ooh.
If I like it, maybe I'll ask you, Yves.
Okay.
Ooh, that's good. Fun.
Okay.
Fun times.
What's one recent piece of advice that someone has given you that is
Oh man, you know what's bad is I can't think of anything off the top of my head, which tells me I need to start looking up, like I need to find a mentor or I need to start talking to people more.
Yeah.
That's number one.
I actually would agree with that for you.
Yeah.
For him.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like for me, therapy has been like.
You go to therapy?
Yeah.
I go to therapy weekly, and
Oh, nice.
Just it's been such a. I'd recommend going to therapy to anyone, but these types of questions I'll get asked, and like it burrows holes in my head. So I'd figure I'd rather
I think what I would say, it's related to running and not necessarily personal life, but Nora, a girl in the running team,
Yeah.
very,
Nora.
very, very talented
Shout
runner.
out Nora.
Yeah.
Former
bonus
podcast
shout-outs.
guest.
Anyway,
That was a great interview, by the
Did
way.
you listen to that?
Wasn't that
That
crazy?
was awesome.
She told me, I texted her because I had been having some rough times in my training, and I was like, how do you do it? Like, you have taken a lot of time off. You are very much working your way back from an injury in a very safe and conservative way. And then she goes out there, she does a running workout, and she just rips marathon paces. Like, it seems easy.
Yeah.
And I was like, how did you do that? Like, I want to be able to do that. And she was like, I don't give space to negative thoughts. She's like, I don't have time for negative thoughts. I don't let them come into my head. When I'm about to go and run the workout, I can't afford to think that there's a possibility that I won't be able to do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like that's crazy. So
Yeah.
I actually put that, like my Tuesday workout, I went out there and I was like, I'm just going to like go out there and like smile, like a really annoying kind of like dumb smile and like pretend that like there is no way that I can't do this.
Yeah.
And it's probably the best workout I've had since like
Nice.
starting this build.
Was it the one you just recently did?
Yeah.
Where you just freaking killed it?
Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
like so happy about it
I saw
too.
that. Man, you should have seen me. I was amped. Like I love, like I get energy off of like people's joy, and so when I saw that, I was just like, "F yeah!"
I
Like,
love
was so
that.
happy
That's
for
so
you.
sweet.
Honestly, I was so happy.
I was in such a good mood, and I was like, kind of like a little bit of credit to Nora because I just felt like, and I had the intention of like really thinking about the positive thoughts before I started, and I didn't necessarily do that, but just like remembering throughout the whole time that like Nora doesn't have time for negative thoughts. Like I don't have time for negative thoughts. I can do this. Like
Yeah.
I can do it. I'm happy. This is a great thing. I get to do this. Like yeah, it went really well. So I'd say that's my answer.
Your positive thoughts went negative that same day, though, didn't they?
They
We'll
did.
talk about that off the air.
Yeah, they did.
It's actually running related in
It
the
is.
community.
How about you?
No, the thing is like I don't really have an answer, and that actually is eye opening to me because I probably need to start talking to more people.
See, hot take. That's not a hot take. It's just my opinion about Paul.
What?
Yeah.
Is I feel even being Paul's partner and the person that I would say he opens up to the most, he does keep a lot of his feelings and thoughts to himself.
Really?
Whether
Yeah.
Why do you
like
think that is?
yeah, why do you think that is?
I just probably in my head think like people that won't care about what I have to say.
That's
Really?
Yeah.
really sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
I think also too in the household I grew up in that small town environment, it's just better to bottle up. I've gotten better with it throughout time. But yeah, I come from a family of very like keep things in house.
Same here.
Yeah.
Well, there's and growing up, I would always like to equate it to you're seen and not heard, and so growing up, it's just suppressing,
Yeah.
like, just urges. If you just things that you just want to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like with my family, and brothers and sisters and parents. Growing up, I never felt like I had the space or the vulnerability to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Do you think it's at all related to the fact that you guys are males?
Oh, probably.
probably.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But just now going through therapy and just like in the relationships that I've been able to build, one thing I realized that I didn't have very many friendships with guys at all.
Mm-hmm.
I had a rotation of like friends who were females, and those turned pretty toxic really quickly. But never having actual guys in my life that were there to either just call me out on my BS,
Yeah.
to just like either just want to hang out.
Right.
And again, within the last 6 to 8 months, I've got 3 guys I can call right now
Nice.
at any time, and I can talk to them. And they're
I
all in
love
the running
that.
community. Like,
oh, I love that.
they're awesome. Like, they're solid men.
Yeah.
And it's just being able to have that space to be able to do that is freeing. And
Every guy needs, and there's a scene in the movie called The Town with Ben Affleck, and
Oh, I've heard this one.
I don't know the other actor's name. Is it Jeremy Renner? Maybe.
Okay.
No.
Ben Affleck goes up to him and he says, "Hey, we're gonna go do something really, really bad, and I need you to not ask any questions." And he says, the other guy says, "Whose car are we taking?" Yeah.
Yeah.
You need a guy like that.
Oh, yeah.
Not really, but hey, I mean, sometimes you gotta do some stuff.
Yeah. I want to say one word of encouragement.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
And this is, I don't know, this is going to go off on a tangent, but this ties into my question here. For two-pack taper, like, you guys are relatively new-ish.
Very.
Oh, yeah, very
new.
Yeah.
And I think that it is admirable. I think it's awesome that you guys are doing this.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And one thing that I always struggle with is just like trying something new, right?
It's scary.
It's scary. And I was having a conversation with a friend, with my mom. I was having a conversation.
One of my best friends.
Yeah, she's awesome. And she, you know,
I love
like,
it.
most of her advice is always like filtered through the Bible, right?
Okay.
But she said something that was crazy to me. That still burrows a hole through my head. And so it's at the job I'm at right now. So I work at a law firm. That's all I'll say about it. And there's a lot going on right now, and I can genuinely say I'm looking for a way out. I'm on my way out. And so I was having a conversation with my mom, and she was saying where maybe it may be time to do something on your own. And I was like, I don't feel like imposter syndrome. I don't feel like prepared. I don't feel like I'm ready. Even though I may project that I am, or I may have everything together, I don't. But she said something crazy. She said, "You know what? Amateurs built the Ark, but professionals built the Titanic." How did that turn out?
That's true.
Whoa.
That's so true.
That's true, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good to have a creative outlet. It could be drawing, writing, reading, podcasting, recording, whatever, video.
So, like, the fact that you guys even like took that jump and just did this, and you've got really, really cool people that you guys have had conversations with, and I was like, I'm honored. And
Of course, man.
You
Start your own. We'll come on it. Shit.
I don't know about that, but
You know
I feel
what I
like you guys are doing all the right things. So keep up.
Thank you.
Keep it up. But and if you guys ever feel like discouraged, but remember that amateurs built the Ark.
Trust me, when I have to listen to these,
like that a lot.
yeah, I've never heard that. When I have to listen to these and edit them after, I'm like, God damn, we're so bad.
You guys are great.
I always think I'm really good.
Yeah, you are. You are.
Gabriella gives me a lot of feedback,
Oh,
and
we
it's
need
always
that.
very positive.
Oh, yeah?
But Paul gets negative feedback from Gabriella.
Yeah.
Shout out to Gabriella, because we know she's going to be the first one to listen to this.
G Money.
Shout out
Yeah.
Gabriella.
Bro, she's the only person I know who likes her own Strava post.
She's
is
she's unhinged.
the best.
She's unhinged?
She
Yeah.
is, but
What do you
she's.
mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Unhinged.
See,
in the
I
best
think-
way. Like, she has no filter, and I actually like that about her.
I think Gabriella
Yeah.
is so unapologetically herself.
Right,
like,
right.
there is just something inside of her that is so confident and so, like, I don't know, just like solid.
We
Like,
talked about having her on.
Yeah.
We gotta
Shout
get
out
her on.
Gabriella.
Shout out Gabriella.
All right. Do you have any other questions on there? I'd love to answer another one.
I got tons of questions.
Oh, man.
I'd love to answer another one.
All right.
I actually have a question for you too at some point.
Okay. Do you want to?
Well, we had so we had Silas Cox and Richard Jones on from the East Side.
I don't like hearing their last names.
Oh, you don't?
I don't know.
Silas
I
and
just
Richard.
like call them Silas and Richard.
I don't know. I just want to get their
Yeah,
full
I don't
names
know.
out there. Shout out to them.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never gotten the chance to meet them. I would love to be able to soon.
I
Yeah.
told Richard all about you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because he was, I think he was
he's
doing
so sick.
something, and he also has good style. And I was like, oh, you would really like our friend Yves.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Well, they're they're
never
black
met him.
runners on the East Side, and we had
Yeah.
talked about.
Yeah.
He had kind of given us some advice, like if a black person, anybody, Asian, minority, brown person walks into your run club and they show up day one, are they going to feel? What did he say, Mac? Are they going to feel
no,
comfortable?
he said, and I have held this to like, this holds the highest thought, I would say, in my entire head whenever I'm doing things, whether that be on social media or for our run club. He said, if someone comes to your run club, no matter who it is, are you ready for
Are you
them?
ready? Yeah.
It's not whether or not you allow them to be there in that space. It's like, are you ready for that? Are you going to feel some sort of way? And like, if you are, that's an issue. You have to be ready to accept anyone who comes and be ready for all of whatever that involves. Not just be like, hey, here's a space that you can come to. It's open for anyone. You have to be like ready for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think Grand Rapids is done in terms of like you being a black male in the community, in terms of like being accepting or inclusive? Is there areas of opportunity?
Oof.
I know.
It is not been easy.
Yeah.
For what Grand Rapids has to offer, for everything that Grand Rapids has, I think that they are doing as best as they can with what they have.
Mm-hmm.
There's room for improvement. Grand Rapids is aggressively expanding right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's always going to be room for improvement.
Mm-hmm.
I think that as of right now, my experience with being here in Grand Rapids as a black man is going to be different from anyone else. But first couple years, it's a little like you feel like you're walking on thin ice.
Yeah.
You're tiptoeing around. There's violence everywhere. Not to the extent of Chicago, but it could be rough sometimes.
As far as the communities that you've now become a part of, how have you felt going to those initially and like now? Because you said you've kind of only gotten involved in like some of these, at least running communities, the last like 8 months. And obviously you're talking about it's been really hard since initially coming here 5 years ago.
It's gotten better. It's gotten better.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
let me finish that statement. So
no,
it's gotten
good.
better.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who are willing to be inclusive, who are willing to accept.
Yeah.
Like Grand Rapids is a Dutch ass town.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're right next to Holland, which actually is a Dutch ass town.
Literally Dutch.
They make furniture and have little dolls.
It is. What?
Sorry about the doll comment.
They make little. You said they make little dolls.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like the
I didn't know
little.
that.
You've never seen like the kissing gnomes?
No.
I've never been to Tulip.
Oh, I'll show
Time.
you off air. Yeah, Tulip Time.
Never been there.
It's like, I mean, they float around neighborhoods in West Michigan
That's
too. They're like these
crazy.
boy and girl Dutch people, like little
That's
kids, and they
wild.
kiss. And they're
Yeah.
ceramics. They're like lawn gnomes.
Bro,
Do you think?
Colin, get your shit together.
I know.
Yeah.
So, as someone who obviously is white and female, pretty privileged in that era, but I still feel like I have a ton to learn, and I struggle. Like, I will admit this, I struggle with the fact that like it's not on you, it's not on any black male or female or any minority to teach us anything. Like it's not your responsibility to do that. But how do you suggest like learning? I mean, we can open our eyes, we can open like up our spaces, we can be as inclusive as we can, and like Silas and Rashard point out, you can tell people they're welcome wherever they're welcome, right? But I feel like there's a difference there, and there's like a gap, and I'm not sure how to fill it as a white female.
Yeah. My question to you is, do you have, it may be Rashard, but do you have people who are black in your current circle right now that you can reach out to and ask those types of questions?
Yeah, I feel like I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Rashard would be somebody I would reach out
100%.
to at this point.
I
Very recent.
definitely look to Rashard just as a mentor in general. I think he's very knowledgeable, and I like to bounce ideas off of him because of that. And he is a very pivotal person, I'd say, in the running community and in just like the community that he's a part of as well.
Yeah.
Maybe even Tommy runs at this point too. Been talking to him.
I gotta meet you guys.
Yeah.
But I would
they're
say
great.
just continue to lean into that.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
100%.
And just being able to experience someone else's reality, even if it's for an hour or two, right? To be able to take away a lot, you'll be able to take away a lot from that.
Yeah.
So I would say just lean into those relationships, like dive in head first if you need to. And if you've built that space where you guys can be vulnerable and just ask those hard-hitting questions,
Yeah.
please do that.
I mean, I found it really motivating, encouraging, all of the words, to go to see Sid, who owns Pioneers
Clothing.
I always think about the spelling and I like forget how to pronounce it.
Pynrs.
Is this in Grand Rapids?
It's being carried by Gazelle. It's originally out of Boston. It is the only black-owned running company, apparel company in the U.S. And he did a talk, or like an interview type of talk, with Tommy Runs in Kalamazoo at the Gazelle there, because they're now carrying them, and it's their line, and it will come to Grand Rapids. I've heard in the next couple of months, he said.
Yeah, cool.
But he did like an interview and just like kind of said his background and the reason why it's an issue that he's the only one. Like their company's the only one, and like what it means to him and what it means to his community back in Boston, and like all of the things. And it was really great to listen to him. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of work to do.
There is.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's hard.
And this past week we had there's not a lot of black African American runners in the community, and we lost Matthew Smith.
Yeah.
Last week. Did you met him at
Yes.
He was at our track night.
days?
I met him.
Yeah.
He was one of the first people I met at the track days.
Yeah.
Like him and I, it seemed like we talked for hours. And
Yeah.
He put me on to different like artists. He was
really
his passion.
Did he ever start an argument with you?
What?
Matthew loved it. He was like, he always prided himself. He's like, I love to argue. He's like, I love it. He's like, you want to argue?
He was very curious.
Yeah.
And he always he loved asking questions.
He did.
So I remember when I first talked.
And there were always questions that we were like, whoa,
Yeah.
I'd never expect someone to ask that, and now I have to answer, and I'm not prepared for this.
It was extremely deep, and I remember our first conversation. I said, "Man, you would make a fantastic attorney."
Oh yeah,
you would make
he
a
would.
wonderful,
someone
brutal,
in politics,
but fair.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And just like him and I, we text every now and then, just back and forth, and how he's gone.
It's just so
Yeah. You know, Paul and I were saying it's sad. Obviously he stopped frequenting the run clubs like regularly, right? Like he didn't always go to Lion Street, he didn't always come to Society, he didn't always go to Hills and Stairs, but you just knew you were going to see him around. Whether that, like, he had a tradition where every Sunday he took his book to Lion Street and he got a coffee and he read his book there in the morning. And I remember like I would see him there quite a bit.
Yeah.
And he told me about that tradition. It's like, it's weird knowing that although I didn't see him every week, I knew I was going to run into him.
Yeah.
Like I knew I'd see him again.
Yeah.
And I spent my entire training block for my very first marathon with him and this other girl named Abby.
Shout out Abby.
This girl named Abby. So it was me, Abby, and Matthew, and we would do all of our long runs together in these we would go out to like Alpine and run, like just random places, right? And we didn't go to the run groups as much at that point either. And so I just spent a lot of time with them, and it's unfortunate.
It's just such a beautiful person.
Yeah.
Just understanding, like just having conversations with him, understanding like his passions, and talking about his family, and there's like a lot of commonalities there, and talking about what like being black in Grand Rapids means, and like the impact that you can have. Like sometimes, like as crazy it may seem, you may be the actual first black person you may have a conversation with, and have such a wonderful experience as opposed to what you may see in the media. For example. And him and I, we talked about that for a little bit, and like he's one of the people that you really want to get to know. He's the type of person that will make you want to be better. He's super consistent, and just like him he told me he wanted to go and like actually go to law school, and I'm just like, man, we have a lot. There's a lot in common. Yeah. And I was like just excited, not only because there's another black person that has similar qualities, commonalities, and just a drive, and there's a vision, an end goal that he wants to hit, but someone who's passionate about movement as well.
Yeah,
like,
he was
someone I can always like reach out to her, and now that is no longer there.
Yeah. It puts things in perspective when he's that young, and you know, when people pass away that young, I always get moments of like, what the fuck am I doing? I need to quit my job. I need to start doing things like that I actually enjoy, because I could be him. You know, I could be dead tomorrow, and I just get moments of anxiety where I'm like, I'm not doing this right. But
he's in Hawaii, right?
He's what?
Dominican.
No.
Sorry.
He's from Hawaii, right?
No, Baltimore. He's from Baltimore, right? Like that's where his family is now.
For sure.
But his dad was in the Army, and he was at the Hawaii base.
Yeah.
So they
Gotcha.
lived there
Okay.
for a little while. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I thought
He was very well traveled. I remember
Very.
listening to his stories. We had our first like 16-mile run, and he was telling me about like he always frequented like the Spanish speaking countries.
I think he might have been fluent.
He was, yeah. He could talk real fluent. And then he also talked about Japan, I believe it was, and like all the Asian countries. Yeah,
very well traveled.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Matthew Smith.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
man.
It was rough. That was rough finding out about that.
It was.
But terrible segue. What other questions do you have?
Terrible segue. Terribly heavy.
All right. Can you share a personal challenge that you're currently working on?
Personal challenge.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Not running related, just human related. I'm working on trying to figure out how to not let people take up so much space in my head and in my heart and in my thoughts in my everyday. Not all people, obviously, because there are important people that should. It's more of like the people who either I'm just not on good terms with, or they have done something in the past or currently are doing something that might hurt me. I'm really bad at like letting that consume my things. Like it can take my entire day and like 180 it if that person somehow something comes up on social media, or I hear about something that they've done, or someone says, well, they said this about you. It like really consumes me, and I'm working on how to not let it.
Yeah.
So
I think for me, and I've been getting better with it over the years, but I'll always be able to improve with it, but it's been contacting my family regularly. I've always been terrible at it, especially when I had my brother alive, my mom alive, and they're not here anymore.
Do you have other siblings?
Yeah, I have one sister, and even her I need to...
Younger?
Yeah, she's younger.
she's my age.
28, 28,
How old are you?
35.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's old as shit.
Just
Just kidding.
But yeah, I just know I only have one grandparent left, and I've been calling her a much, much more than I did in my youth.
Now
And
she is unhinged.
yeah, she's unhinged.
Why don't you call your sister?
You what?
Why don't you call your sister often?
It's a good question. Also, Mike.
sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. That's a good question. I mean, we do here and there, but it could be more. We could text more. I could ask her more questions. It's breaking out of that cycle of when we grew up and everything was suppressed and we didn't really talk about much. Yeah. But yeah, always improving. I consciously know, like, I'll put it in my notes, call grandma this day for no reason, just do it. Yeah, I don't know if you guys...
If you knew someone that was in your similar situation, what would you tell them?
Don't be afraid. Just do it. It's not going to hurt anything. You're not going to lose anything. It's only going to be a benefit. Just have that conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
You should take your own advice, man.
Yeah, I know I should. I've been getting better, but yeah, it's tough. Especially my dad is like me times 10. I'll call me like, "What's up? What? Oh, we're golfing."
It's like
that's
traumatizing conversations.
Yep, that's my dad
Yeah.
to a T.
Like-
I'm golfing.
Our conversations are 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Yep. So
Dang.
it's tough.
Okay.
He's getting better at it too. But all right, what else you got?
Wait, I
like
want
that.
Eve to answer that
Oh
question.
yeah, Eve. Yeah. What personal challenges are you? What was the question?
What personal challenges am
Yeah.
I
Personal challenge that you are
Working through?
currently working on.
I'm currently working on is letting things go.
Oh.
Yeah, similar.
Yeah,
to
and
mine.
when's the right time to let things go?
Yeah.
People
I have
specifically, or thoughts, or just anything?
just like a little bit of both.
Yeah.
There's like certain friendships that I had there's certain friendships that I've had in like certain parts of my life, and like those friendships have not grown, and I'm at a point right now, and I've done better at actually either calling them, reaching out to them, and let them know this is how I feel.
Yeah.
This is what's going on. This is
That's
it
a really
angers me,
hard conversation to have.
and this is why we're not going to be like, they're basically just breaking up, basically,
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
stopping that friendship and just having that conversation. Because if they're too far away, then like if we haven't talked in 6 months or 6 to 8 months, and I haven't texted you, or we haven't communicated with each other, there's no unfortunately. There's no use that you play in my life
Right.
now. Like I've got other things that I'm like, dealing with, and like if you got to figure out through other people that instead of coming to me and vice versa, I'll take some of the blame for that. If there's no value that I'm providing to you or value that I feel like that I'm receiving, I'm cutting it off.
See, that's a new thing to me.
Yeah.
Paul has asked me that about, not a lot, but some of the friendships and relationships that I've had in my life. He's been like, well, what value do you guys, like what value is she bringing to your life, or he, or vice versa? And I'm like, I've never thought of it that way. It's a very new concept I've had to think about whether or not a relationship actually adds value.
Yeah.
Because I've always just thought of it as like, oh, right, like they're my friend. They don't need to add value. They're just a person. But I am understanding now that looks different as an adult who can pick their relationships and friendships, and it affects their day-to-day kind of thing.
Absolutely. And I'll say this. I've had a friend that I've known for almost over a decade. And we were super close. And I know you're going to see this. And I'm really sorry you're about to hear this. But it's like those, I've known this guy for so long.
Yeah.
And I've held a lot of resentment through some like life changes that has happened more recently. But the fact that I cannot reach out to you, or the fact that a lot has happened in my life, and we just saw each other a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Just randomly.
Oh, like just
randomly.
in public kind of thing, or like you actually intentionally met up?
No, we
at a
didn't
random-
intentionally met up. I didn't know that he was gonna be nearby where I was at.
Okay.
And so, like, just having that conversation, just like trying to pick up where we left off, I'm just like, I feel uneasy about
It's
this.
exhausting.
Yeah.
So
That's
I haven't
hard.
had that conversation with him, and I'm still trying to figure out how to.
Yeah.
Because that's like, that one hurts pretty much. That one cuts pretty deep.
Yeah. It's hard.
But I know, like if he ever even if we weren't friends and he needed something or wanted to reach out, I'm always going to be there. But there's no
feel-
value that I'm providing to him,
Right.
Yeah.
and vice versa. That relationship's going to end.
I think that it's at least good that you're able to take the responsibility as well. Like it's not on just your friend who's not adding value to your life, but you can also see, well, I'm also not adding anything to yours.
Yeah.
Like at this point, neither of us are, it's like that mature part in a relationship, even when you get to a point and you're like, ooh, we're just here for convenience / like habitual, right?
Yeah.
And like, I'm also not doing anything good for you. And it's really actually amazing that you can see that part of it.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
I like that.
I got other questions.
Oh, what you got?
I got a lot.
Oh,
So-
damn.
Damn.
Yeah,
Yeah, you guys are
oh,
in, like,
oh,
I
we're gonna have to do a part 2.
Possibly.
But no, you're
Yeah.
good. Because we haven't even eaten yet. But no rush.
Oh shoot.
No, you're
I'll
good.
ask
That
Okay.
was our fault.
He says that, but like after this, all I'm going to do is warm up a burrito.
Yeah.
And probably eat it in
That's
bed.
our
if
fault.
Paul's
We were
gonna
at
let me.
Hills and Sarah's.
Ooh,
She was
I got
running. What you got?
All right.
Mm-hmm.
If you walked into a room with everyone you ever met or
Mhm.
knew, who's the first person you'd be looking for?
Paul.
Oh.
Oh, who are you going to say?
Oh, no.
That's
He's.
so cute.
I was just trying to think of like someone from my past. And
Yeah.
anyone I've ever met, it would probably be my mom. Just because she's
That's
not.
fair.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She ain't around anymore. So I
No,
would probably
that's-
be looking for her.
Yeah, which is definitely
Yeah.
fair. I would expect that. But
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
mine lived down the street, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
What you got?
what does growth look like for you in running and careers and?
Not doing the same thing. Like I am definitely one of those people where like, and I have been told that it's a bad quality by certain people who are no longer a part of my life, but I am constantly growing in the sense that my life will look nothing like it is right now in
Yeah.
3 months, 6 months. Like it's just constantly different. Like, I mean, a year and a half ago, I was married, living in Caledonia with 3 different cats than I have now. And, discussing like potentially having kids. And
Yeah.
I was kind of running, but like I wasn't running as intense as I am now. And I had a whole different group of friends, and they were bringing different things into my life at that time that I needed. But like my life looks so different now. And I'm just like, I feel like if your life looks the same in 10 years, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Like whether that be just like you're not challenging yourself enough, you're not stepping out of your comfort zone enough, like your life should look different. Maybe not that drastic, right? Like don't go out and get a divorce just to have a different life.
Yeah.
Like that's totally different. But just in general, like you can't keep yourself in a box and just because it's comfortable and it's what you've always known, because that's not providing you with any value. You're not growing if you're in that box forever.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to
Beat that,
argue.
Paul.
I can't. But for me, it's been just recognizing when changes have needed to be made and not worrying about making big changes, but just 1% changes. For me, it was like quitting drinking. Let's get in the weight room. Maybe let's stretch some more.
Yeah, I've been checking your Strava posts on
Yeah.
the weight room.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
They look like really intense, don't they? Because they're black and white and like handwritten on a piece of paper.
I like that.
Yeah, they're intense.
Tried to
Props
make
to
it.
you, man.
Thank you. Or writing, doing this podcast, just little 1% changes that are going to kind of alter the path a little bit. Yeah.
What about for you, Yves?
Yeah.
What does it look like for you growing?
Just growth. Doing things that feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's the big one.
So one thing about me is not a lot of people know, but a lot of people do know now that I can't swim and I don't know how to swim. Here's the thing. Being Haitian, I have 2 strikes against me, right? So I'm from an island, right? Hispaniola.
Yeah, you're not getting really far.
Yeah, I'm not getting very far. Surrounded by water, I can't swim. I'm also allergic to seafood.
You also went on a cruise.
Oh, really?
Allergic to seafood, yeah.
No way.
Anything from the salt water, can't have. Freshwater fish and stuff, I can have.
Okay.
But anything from the ocean,
Like no sushi?
no. Depends on what's in the sushi.
What about California roll?
That's raw fish.
Yeah, but it's
depends
white
on the
fish. Technically, California roll is supposed to have crab, but it's white fish.
No.
No?
So
Wow.
can't have that. Anything I call them sea roaches, lobsters, crabs.
Right.
Can't do it. Shrimp, can't do it. I will die.
Damn.
So I make sure.
Then you have to probably check other ingredients because a lot of things randomly have sneaky seafood.
True. For example, Thai food.
Yes.
I love
Fish
I used
sauce.
to love
Oysters,
to eat
or not
Thai
oysters,
food.
anchovies,
Well,
right?
I think it was oyster sauce or something.
Yeah.
That they
Fish
cook their
sauce,
food. And so
yeah.
every single time
Fish
I eat
roll.
it, I get really sick. Wow. And now I know why. So just understanding
Yeah.
that I got to be more vocal about dietary restrictions.
Did you tell people when you went on the cruise that you were not going to survive if the cruise went under?
Man, I would die immediately. I'm touching the water and I'm finito. Flatline, done.
So when you say you're trying to do things,
Can
that
you
make
tread water?
uncomfortable-
I have a lot of questions about the whole swimming thing.
Well, he was going to continue with swimming. Go ahead, Eve.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, so I've taken a couple classes right now just
Okay.
to learn
Oh, wow.
how to swim and get more water comfortable. So my goal is and I've set this goal by December 1st, 2024, I will be a dolphin.
Nice.
In the
What you should do is you should sign up for a triathlon.
Give
I
him
feel like
time.
that would. Well, he
Yeah.
said he's going to be a dolphin.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a dolphin, you should do the
First
reeds.
black dolphin.
Yeah, you should do the reeds try because it's a
Aren't
short
orcas-
swim. It's
When is
only.
it?
It's in not this year, but
Probably
September.
next year,
the next. So if you wait till after Christmas next year, it'll be 2025, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So then it'll be in September. It's every September.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's a really awesome put together race. And the swim is only, oh shoot, it's not even a mile. I don't even know.
No.
It's
Okay.
like quarter mile. Maybe?
Yeah, quarter mile, but-
It's like the shortest swim you can have in a try.
Either way,
It's a sprint try.
do you feel like you're less afraid of the water now just from those few sessions?
Yeah, from
Yeah.
what I've learned, yes. It took a while to understand that water is not here to just to help to support you and not sink, and just getting past I'm older, and so it's all in my head now.
Wow.
But I was able to float, which
Dude, that's
when
hard,
I
though.
walked out and I was just I'm just
I love that.
So just building those
Just like
for me,
blocks, yeah.
building those blocks. And for me, I understand swimming is just like riding a bike, so I'm going to do it slow just to learn the mechanics. The speed will come later.
Yeah.
But that's the goal, is to be able to swim, because I'll be the goal is
You want to go to
wanna
Hawaii,
do-
don't you?
yeah, in December. So why not be able to swim with sea turtles and do cool things out
Which
there?
is
'Cause when
really
I went
cool.
last time, I couldn't do that. So
Yeah, that's
but-
so awesome.
yeah, it was.
That's the downside to maybe growing up in an inner city in terms of water access is minimal.
Yeah.
We got Lake Michigan, but
Right.
Our high school didn't have a pool, so typically back then is like it's a requirement to learn or at least water maturity. But our high school didn't have it, so we didn't require it. So I just never had the opportunity to. And I've traveled a ton of places in water, but I've never. I'm just like, yo, if this thing goes under, I'm done.
That's crazy.
This ain't gonna, my story ain't gonna last very long.
I don't remember learning to swim.
No.
But I grew up on a lake.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sure my
It's gonna
parents did it when
happen.
I was like really, really young. Because my grandparents had a cottage, and then when my grandparents passed away, my mom and like her sister inherited it, and so then it was like 5 minutes down the road from our actual like where I lived.
Nice.
So we'd go there like all the time.
I look at swimming as like a tool. Like it's the
I've
same.
never seen you swim, so don't say that.
I can swim though. I can.
I
can.
Okay.
But like you
believe
go
you.
wakeboarding, you fall off the wakeboard, you got to wait for the boat. I can swim.
In your life jacket, not
yeah,
doing
but
anything.
I can
you
do it
just
without
float.
a life jacket.
You know what's crazy? I can't. Man, I have a couple friends that have invited me on their boat, and this is before I took swimming lessons. And this is a crazy thing, right? So I'd ask for they had like a pontoon on their
Calm lake.
on a calm lake.
Yeah.
And so I'd be so freaked out. I'd ask like, "Yo, you guys have life jackets?" So it was like, "Yeah, we have life jackets."
Yeah.
And I asked if this bitch had seat belts. I'm not even kidding. I kid you not. I asked if this thing had seat belts in it.
I mean, pontoons they get a little rocky.
Yeah.
Man, and I'm just like over here, just like grabbing onto things. I'm just like, yo, if we go under, I'm taking all y'all with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I trust life jackets now.
Crazy.
It's good to have. Well, what I was saying is like it's like running. Like I remember back in the day, I would have to take my car to the auto mechanic, and they're like, "Oh, do you want a rental or do you want to get an Uber?" I'm like, I'll run home. I'll just run." Because like once you have the confidence you can do those things, you can just implement those in your life.
Yeah, I know how to run, and I wouldn't run to an auto mechanic.
I know, but you know what I mean. Just those situations.
I do remember one time I was mad at you, and I was like, and I knew your car was in the shop, and I thought to myself, I'm not going to offer him a ride. He's going to have to approach me, say he's sorry, and then get a ride. And I looked on Find My Friends, and you were halfway to the mechanic.
On foot?
On Alpine. Yeah, on foot. And I was like,
that's what I'm saying.
This mother trucker. I was like, I thought that was going to be my opening for he's going to have to apologize to me because he needs this ride.
Got to get a run in.
No, he just ran there.
Yep.
Sweet. I
Yeah.
got 2 more questions for you.
Go for it.
Okay.
Right. I really want to see this burrito, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, it's just a
It's
frozen.
a frozen burrito.
Vegan.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's just beans and cheese.
Okay. What do you think is next for 2-pack taper?
Oh. The funny thing is like, I don't know why we keep doing these, but we do.
We keep doing them because of 2 reasons. He's saying he doesn't know. I'll tell you why. 1, Paul doesn't like talking to me, just me.
That's just not true.
I think he doesn't think I'm that interesting. 2, because we have incredibly intelligent and interesting friends that we surround ourselves with. Why would we not let their voices be heard?
Yeah.
They have
like that.
so many cool things to say and that people wouldn't know, right? Like as Americans, and Paul drew my attention to this from someone you met who is French, who told them that like Irish, okay. The Americans have a really bad habit of associating everything with what do you do for a living?
That is so true.
It's all small talk, and they don't.
Where'd you go to school?
Yeah.
They don't care about your passions right off the bat. When it's like you really should, because that's what makes that person.
They dive deep. They ask these like deep, targeted questions. Not like what you do, what you what you make,
boring shit.
Yes, it's like what do you love to do when you're not wherever I met you.
You know, I find that really interesting. Where, like, to tangent off of that, just like things that we find important or things that they find important. So, like, you could go to like Italy, for example, and if I'm in Italy, I'm seeing all these expensive, like these nice cars, and I'm just like, yo, this is actually really freaking nice, right?
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying like this, and I'm enjoying what I'm seeing, all these materialistic items in front of me. When I turn around and I'm looking at everyone else, they're enjoying a bottle of wine, watching the coast, and they're enjoying everything else. Everyone has money. Like everyone has a pretty similar lifestyle, and everyone is, they're well off, they're doing well, but they don't care about it. They let me go ahead and sit back at the foot of the foot of Italy and just watch and just enjoy.
Americans are so focused on now, fast, more. Like those are the 3 most important things to Americans, and it's like They want to have the most amount of money.
Yeah.
It's impressive to spend the most amount of time working at whatever job you're at and moving up in that job. Like, they want everything right now. Like, our dinners, the difference between going to dinner here and going to dinner in like Italy, here you are turning tables, right? The waitresses and waiters are just trying to turn tables. You go to Italy, it's like a 3-hour experience,
right.
and like they're not pressuring you to do anything but sit there, enjoy the company, and like that's it. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, the goal, I think, in the short term is just to keep having interesting people on that we like with you, we know you, but we don't really know you that well. Yeah. And that was the same thing with Alex and Nora previously. That story just kept getting crazier. I didn't know anything about that.
I couldn't stop it.
But we're just going to keep having people on. I would like to maybe travel with this a little bit, like go to Chicago, go to Detroit, go to different places.
Yeah. You got the Chicago Marathon this year, right?
Yeah, we'll be there.
Dude.
Mm-hmm. I will be eating a hot dog, and I'll be cheering both of you on.
Yeah.
Are you running it?
Yeah.
I'll be running it.
Hell yeah.
The goal is to run it every year.
Oh, nice.
I love Chicago.
Don't you get like, is it 15 years you get?
So if you run it at least 5 times within a 10-year period, I believe, then you get, it's like you don't, well, there's still the lottery, but you automatically get picked. So what I'm doing this year is the Chicago Distance Series, where you run a Shamrock Shuffle, which is in a couple weeks. You run the Chicago Half and then the Chicago Full Marathon. Yep. So next year when I apply, I won't have to fundraise. It's a guaranteed entry.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I love Chicago. Chicago, you always have my heart. But all right, last question.
What you got
for you, Mac and Paul?
Interesting.
What is
Face IDs? Oh, go ahead. I thought you were waiting for the notes app to pull up. Oh, you're good.
What is one thing you want people to know about you individually?
Oh,
individually. Period.
One thing that I want them to know about me. Oh man.
I want Paul to go first this time.
See, I don't really know what people think about me. I think deep down I am mostly insecure. Yeah, that would be. Yeah. And it's mostly everything's just imposter syndrome, where, I'm constantly comparing myself to others in terms of whether it's running, whether it's their career, their kids. I mean, everything, like most people, I'm just insecure about, I'm shorter, I'm not 6'5", jacked muscles, tan, $1 million mansion on a lake, So I think maybe as a guy, there's just those types of insecurities. But yeah, I battle through them, and I just continue as an imposter in this world, and get things done. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
That was sweet.
What you got, Mac?
I don't need you to be tan with lots of muscles.
Oh, I'm gonna get tan. Don't worry.
He says that he's gonna get tan, but it doesn't happen every summer. I mean, I could also obviously say like I'm a human, like we're all insecure.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna repeat obviously what Paul said. I think the biggest thing for me is like above everything else, like I truly at the core of who I am is like I care about people. Yeah. Like that is like my fundamental foundation is like caring about other people and wanting the best for everyone. And I think that's like why I feel so compelled to do everything with like the track club and like in the running community, and to ask questions and to have these like conversations and to meet new people, is because like I love people and I would just want them to be happy, and I want to bring them together, and I just like I will above all put them above who I am, like me as a person. So
and from what I've from the people that I've talked to off camera or talked to about you guys, it's apparent and it shows. Like,
thank you.
And you guys don't have to like broadcast it or say I'm this. It's just naturally just who you guys are. It's in your nature to be genuinely sweet and always have a curious have a heart of curiosity, just whether it's asking people questions and diving deep into their lives, or or willing to go be in uncomfortable situations in other settings and experiencing other people's realities, to something as simple as reaching out to family.
Yeah.
I think that you guys are doing everything right. So
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Yves.
and I'll say one thing. I'll answer my question.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was about to say, before we turn this off, I want you to answer the question.
You go for it.
What do you want people to know?
That I am extremely approachable. I think I'm a genuinely good guy.
Yeah,
So
you are.
I think that if you ever do see me, feel free to stop. I won't bite. Yeah, I have a lot of value. I think that I'm a thinker. I'm a feeler. There's a lot to me. So if you do see me, feel free to stop and say hi. And I genuinely enjoy people.
Yeah.
It's not to like
No,
regurgitate
you're good. You're good.
Genuinely enjoy people, and the people that I've gotten to meet here, and the friendships that I've had, and the conversations that I've been, blessed to be a part of. It has been a blessing, and I feel so honored here. So thanks for inviting me on.
Of course. We're going to have to do another one because you have so many questions. Maybe you should start your own podcast. You know what I'm saying?
You could.
I think if you guys were to have me, I'd love to.
Oh,
and I
sure.
will also reassure you that everything that you just said you want people to know about you definitely shines through. Like, there is not a doubt in my mind that anyone who has had the time to be even in the same vicinity as you, like even just at a run club that you are passing by or biking at or walking at, knows that like you are a genuine and kind and caring and compassionate person.
Yeah.
So
what was crazy? A couple weeks ago, this was super cold. I had to do I did a run super early in the morning and then a bike ride. So I'm just like, man, all right, let me go. I gotta go on and do this stupid bike ride. So I biked on the White Pine Trail, and it sucked because I was having snotsicles and like just eye crusties. It was bad.
The good stuff.
And then I saw you guys. It was you. I was on a bike and I was going towards.
I remember
Riverside.
this. I don't remember who I was with though.
You were with this is the track club. You guys were running, right? And so I saw you guys, and that gave me so much encouragement. I was like, "F yeah!" I loved it. And then I went back to put my bike up, and then I drove because my phone case fell or something. I think I lost the glove, so I'm driving around to find it. And I see you guys again, and I'm in my car, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like two times in a row, and I rolled the window and like honking, and it's just like, it was so encouraging.
We saw you like the next day, and I was like, we get to see you again. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You guys
We love it.
Yeah.
We hope to see you more out there.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah,
thank you.
It's always a pleasure. Right.
What's tonight? Wednesday? It's time for bed, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, Eve. Thank you.
Thanks,
See ya.
Yves.
Thanks so much.
Bye, everyone. Burrito time.
All right. Ciao.